Hello and welcome everybody to this week's edition of Well Met. My next legendary guest is none other than the champion of Doge House himself, the Ekop. Hello Ekop.
Well met, well met.
Yes, well met, son. So yeah, man, thank you for being on the show. It's really great to have you here. Unlike last week where I actually was up all night for the Frodan thing, like I was trying to reset my sleep schedule, so I was like kind of not with all the energy. But this week I'm bringing it, man. It has been brought. So yeah, could you introduce yourself for all those infidels out there that might not know who you are?
Well, for everyone who has been living under a rock for the last half year, I'm Ekop. I'm the face of Team Dogger House, and yeah, the most BM player in the world.
The BM player in the world,
Yeah.
man.
I
Champion.
mean, the most hated and the best player in the world.
Yeah, man. Stone Cold Stevie Cop right here, man. All right. Could you tell us how you got into video games and card games in general?
Well, I've always been a gamer all my life. I mean, I've been. Oh, wait a second, that's my cell phone. The fuck?
It all happens here on Well Met, folks.
I don't have time for that right now. Well, sorry about that.
It's fine.
Anyway, um, I've been a gamer all my life. I've been fascinated with games, with video games, especially since I was a child. And like I got one of those weird those weird pirate consoles, pretty much when I was little. Like
Oh my god.
you know, with those cartridges that have
Yeah.
like over 200 games and stuff.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
basically my first console, and I played the shit out of that.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, ever since then, I've been fascinated with those things. And yeah, I mean, I've tried all different genres of games. I've played I've played as many games as possible, from like fighting games to strategy games to like even games like The Sims, for example.
Oh
Like
my goodness. Did your Sims like die just
I
randomly?
tried that. So yeah, I mean, and I've enjoyed most of them. Let's
Yeah.
just say. And yeah, I mean, naturally, I've also got into card games, being the gaming nerd that I am. Yeah, I mean, got into card games, playing Magic the Gathering in like fifth or sixth grade,
Mm-hmm.
with Magic the Gathering, and playing it up until the WoW TCG came out in 2007 or 2006, but I started playing it in 2007. Friend introduced me to it, and I was instantly hooked because I always loved the Warcraft series
Mm-hmm.
as a whole. I loved the Warcraft style. I loved the Warcraft games.
Mm-hmm.
And the Warcraft card game naturally was like the perfect fit for me, especially because it was such a good card game as well. And yeah, I mean, and from the Warcraft trading card game, I got into Hearthstone pretty much because this is the successor to this game.
Indeed, indeed. All right, going into some Reddit questions here. Blackout Dota asks, "What is Kazooie?" And for all those non-German speakers out there, that translates to "Where is Kazooie?"
Well, Kazooie is like everywhere and nowhere at the same time. He's inside us and all around us. It's like it's like
It's
a
like the
higher.
Force, man. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone tries to find Kazooie, but um, Kazooie will reveal itself to whoever is not looking, actually.
wow, sounds like a flasher, man.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next question from BP Zen Style. What would you make of the idea that you're a villain of Hearthstone? Do you believe it's warranted?
Yeah, totally. I mean, me being, I assumed this role of the villain from the start because I love controversy. Um, I love like being edgy and what's it called? Like, I mean, I just like wanted to make an impact immediately.
Yeah.
And what better impact to make is if you call out as like the popular players about how bad they are and stuff like that. and just claiming that you're the best, no one can touch you.
Hmm.
Obviously, you're not going to get liked, but I mean that's the role I assumed, and yeah, I mean I went from there and got popular.
You should dress up as Scarface for the BlizzCon, man. That'd be really cool.
I mean, me being a big fan of the WWE, I always think that yeah, there should be heels, which is pretty much the term for bad guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I assume that role because there's not enough bad guys in gaming or in esports.
Would you
So
say Amaz is like Kurt Angle?
not really. Amas is more like uh oh man.
He isn't John Cena yet, so maybe Daniel Bryan, dare I say?
Nah, no, no, no.
Oh, well, he's a face, that's for sure. Face, of
Yeah,
course,
sure.
is
Amas is
WWE.
like one of the faces, that's for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like the biggest baby face there is. Maybe like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh, snap,
Yeah,
yes.
that,
Yes.
that that's like a fair comparison, I guess, because like you would never, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat has never been a heel in his life, and
Yeah.
Amas will probably also never be a heel
It's
or
not
not
gonna
like
happen,
it
man.
or
Not gonna
something.
happen. Yeah. So, really quick question. Who is your favorite wrestler? It could be a past wrestler, it could be a present, or it could be even somebody that's in the developmental.
Well, I like pretty much with gaming, like pretty much just like with gaming, I was also always a big fan of the WWE. Um, I really liked the Undertaker when I was a kid,
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean, I haven't really watched wrestling regularly though up until like 5 years ago,
Oh,
6 years
okay.
ago,
The streak's
and
broken, bro.
yeah, I know. I mean, I still watch wrestling regularly.
Yeah.
I like since 6 years, and my favorite wrestlers currently are um, Daniel Bryan,
Hmm.
Cesaro.
Yeah, Cesaro is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously biased because he's like Swiss slash German, right?
Yep.
So yeah, him and CM Punk, who
Yeah.
unfortunately is currently retired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a really odd turn of events. He just left. It was like just GG, man. I'm out of here.
yeah. I mean, he might come back. It might like be just a whole new storyline. Like
Yeah.
no one would expect him, but nah, I think he's actually gone for good.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's see. Next question comes from RK He asks, "What next from his card are you most looking forward to?"
Oh man, next Ramos is going to be insane. I'm telling you
Hmm.
that. I mean, all those cards are looking so good, and I'm definitely looking forward to like build new decks with those cards. But most of all, like, the card that I'm looking forward to play the most is got to be the Void Caller.
Hmm.
I mean, this card just screams OP.
Yes. Instant Jaraxxus.
Yeah, I mean, look at the things you can do with that card. They are just, oh my god. Like, I have no words for that.
Yep.
It can be so brutal. Like
Yep.
turn four Void Caller into like something insane like a Doomguard or even a Jaraxxus.
I'm really curious though. If you get a Doomguard, would it automatically discard the cards from your hand, or would it just place itself on the field
Oh,
automatically?
Battle Cries don't trigger as far as I know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Get
Because
the
that would just be like,
Doomguard without drawback.
yeah, exactly, man. So you just pack all the most powerful demons in your card. Like, oh my god, so
Yeah.
good. And just get a couple of faceless manipulators, because you know you want as many of those. So it's an interesting card. I don't know if this guy's name is Gigi Isha or G Geisha. He asks if you could improve, change the mechanics, rules of Hearthstone. How would you?
I mean, you can definitely make the game more skill based
Hmm.
by removing random elements and stuff like that, or interacting in your with your opponent on your turn. But I mean, with interacting with your opponent on the enemy turn. But obviously, that's not really possible because of the yeah of the whole way this game is designed. Pretty much, it's supposed to be an online game, online turn-based game, um, which does yeah. I mean, it has to also be fast-paced, so you don't want to like wait with all the priority passing. I mean, you, for example, you see a game like Magic the Gathering online, right?
Yep.
Um, it's it's pretty much the same game, but you can interact with your opponent on his turn. However, you always have to like pass priority after whatever you're doing. So sometimes your opponent just might be AFK and you have to wait for him and stuff like that. So you cannot really do your thing on your own turn, which but so it just makes the game slower. I mean, the sacrifices that Hearthstone had to make on the skill curve, pretty much. Um, yeah, I mean, they had to be made in order to make the game more fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, you either have a fun game or you have a skill-based game. But if you want to like have a pure skill game, you might as well just play, I don't know, chess or whatever. um, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, you cannot really make changes that increase the skill cap unless yeah, you have to make those changes that don't right break the fun of the game. I think what I would add is probably something like activated abilities.
Mm.
So you can like so you have a minion, for example, you click on it and it makes like an effect that you can maybe target even. Like for example, you activate it once a turn and then you can shoot one damage.
Ah,
That's,
okay.
that's another minion or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, just as an example.
Mm. Would you also say that for custom games, maybe they should add a like an extreme mode of sorts, like a very hard difficulty, if people just want to like try and eliminate a lot of the RNG, like reduce RNG, add more skill, like a particular mode within custom games, so guys that just want to like go crazy can just go crazy. Or do you think that'll just be too complicated for Blizzard to implement?
I don't know really. I
GG, GG.
mean, there's a lot of stuff that can be done.
Hmm.
I've also like brainstormed a couple of ideas for game modes, for example. Like there's obviously um, the raid boss mode, which is pretty much what next Ramos is gonna have, right? Like
Yep.
you're gonna be against the AI and like fight an overpowered opponent, um, trying to get those loots or whatever. Yeah, so that's gonna be there. But it would be even more fun if you could do it with friends.
Yep.
So like teamwork, pretty much. Or just introduce, or also you could introduce 2v2 game modes or something like that. That would be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That'd be pretty
So,
sweet.
yeah, the 1v1 experience is obviously the main focus of the game. But yeah, I mean, you could do stuff like free for all or 2v2 or stuff like that. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. One thing I just hope the bosses don't have is primordial hydras, man. Like that sort of thing can escalate quite quickly. Going to the next question from Arc2483. He asks, "Who is the second best player in the world?"
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows who the best is, am I
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, yeah, the second best would probably be Strifecrow.
Hmm.
I mean, I have huge respect for Strifecrow. Strifecrow is one of those gamers that whatever he touches, he's just good at it. I mean, I've seen him play several games now. He's played Warcraft 3, he's played StarCraft, he's played Heroes of the Storm as well. Like, and all those games I've seen him, like League of Legends too, I guess. And all those games I've seen him in. He was very good at them, and Hearthstone is no exception to that. You might think that like Hearthstone being um, not focused on mechanical skills, but instead of like yeah, brain power, theory crafting, and stuff like that. You might think that regular pro gamer that's good at MOBAs or RTS games or stuff like that would not be good in Hearthstone, but yeah, Striker just proves the contrary. I mean, he's very good at Hearthstone, obviously, being one of the top players,
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean, his whole mindset pretty much is his whole thought process is just so much different from other players, like regular players. He puts a lot of thought into the game, and he really thinks outside the box, which is also a reason why he's one of those innovators when it comes to deck building. So yeah, I mean, overall play skill and this whole like thinking outside the box, making new decks, innovating, like makes him the second best player after me, obviously.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Riotman Please asks, what is your favorite emote to BM with?
Obviously, threaten. I mean, just show the enemy who's boss.
Was there any particular class that you like to threaten with?
um, yeah, I mean, my favorite class is obviously Shaman, and the elements will destroy you. Also
Yes.
known as the elephants will destroy you. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
But also the Garrosh threaten is pretty cool.
Hmm.
I will crush you.
Yeah. Dude, after seeing the Far Cry 4 footage about elephants, you gotta respect elephants now, man. Like,
Oh, I
seriously.
haven't seen that yet, but yeah,
Oh my god, it's like they've got, have you played Far Cry 3?
no.
Oh, okay. So there are these compounds that you have to capture, right?
Hmm.
So they raid the compound, and an elephant literally storms through the front doors and starts just killing people left and right. It looked amazing. So yeah,
Well,
beware of elephants.
yeah, man, the elephants will destroy you indeed.
Yep. And next question is from Hacker. He asks, my experience from in real life sports is that if someone constantly is playing with bad manners, even if they're faking it, they have something to compensate for, or they feel that they have a deficiency compared to others. Is it true to you? If yes, what are you trying to compensate?
I mean, success and success is pretty much what I'm striving for all the time. Whenever I'm passionate about something, um, I really try to be like the best at it. I'm a very competitive person, so naturally, when I like, for example, started streaming, and I think yeah, and started gaining viewers, but still didn't have as many viewers as other people like Trump or Crip. I naturally got jealous because I considered them not to be as good as me and not deserving of those viewers.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's kind of childish, but yeah, I mean, this is the kind of mindset I have. That therefore I'm trying to like improve all the time and like to get to achieve my goals. I mean, I'm just yeah, I'm just I guess I'm just jealous a lot for not having what others have. So
fair enough, man. That's fair
that's
enough. Yeah.
that's maybe what I'm trying to compensate for.
Okay. Okay. Penticino asks, are there any tips on building free-to-play decks that include only a couple of rare, maybe epic cards? Which free-to-play class is the strongest?
Oh man, free to play decks. I mean, I I'm I mean the whole free to play thing. I mean, I don't really like it, to be honest.
Hmm.
In my opinion, if you want to be good at a game, you have to invest time into it. You don't have to invest money, that's for sure. I mean, there's several free to play games that require you to spend either time or money into something.
Hmm.
And I spent a lot of time into Hearthstone. Um, I spent like only $100 on the game, and that wasn't even necessary. I mean, I could have gotten just all the cards by playing Arena all day. So yeah, but if you really don't have the time or the money to play, then yeah, I guess this whole free to play concept that other streamers have been popularizing, like Reynard or Trump, um, I guess it's good for you. So my advice would be, if you don't have the time or the money, you should try either to play arena,
Hmm.
like not focus on constructed at all. I mean, just try to learn the game by playing arena and hopefully getting better on in arena. But if you're not good enough for arena to make a profit out of that, then um, you should like yeah I guess you have to choose a class, a free to play class, and the strongest one, in my opinion, is probably um, warlock
Hmm.
or shaman
Yeah.
or mage even.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
So there's your answer, man. And next question is from Napoleon Lol. He asks, Ekop, what is your opinion on the DreamHack incident, and do you think the game should have been remade?
Oh man, like this whole thing
Yeah,
was controversy. I and I don't really get it. I mean, I get why people would get upset over it. I just didn't expect that so many people would be this stupid to actually think that art
yep,
cheated.
yep,
So here's the thing, like this whole DreamHack incident, obviously, it's Blizzard's fault first of all
yep,
for not letting, like, not having an option to hide messages or not I mean, block messages or hide messages or stuff like that. So I mean that's included in like every game, right? You
yep.
can like just turn off, just go busy and you not receive any messages, right?
Hmm.
I don't understand why it's not possible in Hearthstone. It's probably one of the first things they're gonna fix soon.
Yeah.
I mean, Blizzard has been watching DreamHack, and yeah, they know about it. I'm pretty sure about that. Anyway, the second thing is like, oh yeah, people say RDU cheated, and like, I
Yeah,
mean,
I know.
why it would have been so blatant. I mean, if it was cheating, if he, it would have gotten caught, obviously, right?
Yeah, it's like his career would have
The
ended, like
point of
right there.
cheating if you get caught.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that dumb to like
Nope.
voluntarily cheat and in a game which is like televised and like several thousand people watch it
Hmm.
just to like
Yeah.
yeah be just like take the risk and not be invited to any more tournaments, getting banned from the
Yep.
game, whatever, I don't know,
Hmm.
like
Yeah, I know, man. It's like unlike,
do it.
older sports and such, it's like you don't have a constant camera watching you throughout your play. Like you can't cheat in this game. Like it's kind of impossible, especially at the grand final stage. It's like,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
it's impossible to cheat.
Yep.
I mean, I mean, what happened is pretty much RDU had a bunch of friends who wanted to like, oh yeah, take the moment to get into the spotlight by messaging some stupid stuff. Most of
Yep.
them did that, and one particular guy, um, yeah, just said what the opponent has in his hand to help RDU out.
Yep.
Obviously, not thinking about what he did because RDU was obviously on stream,
Hmm.
and yeah, like basically jeopardizing RDU's like tournament life, right?
Hmm. Yep. It was just a sad turn of events.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stupid people that yeah, it's just stupidity. That's all. That's
Yep.
all it is. But you cannot like ask someone to like delete his whole friend list as well. Like,
That'll take a while. Yeah.
yeah, it's that, and it would take a while to like re-add those friends that you want and stuff like that.
Yep.
I mean, it's really simple. Just make the option to not get any messages because this is like the only thing that can fuck up a good tournament like that.
Indeed, indeed. Do you think that Till Blizzard actually changes the system by allowing you to, you know, like block out messages and such? Do you think till then, for big tournaments at DreamHack, they should provide players with separate accounts that they can just log into, create their decks on that, and then just play each other? Like as kind of compromise till the settings are changed.
I mean, it is a possibility, but I think what it's not hard to do it. I
Yeah.
mean, before they do that, they will just make it that busy will actually work.
Yeah.
So that's just one thing that Blizzard has to do, and it's easy to do. So there is no problem there.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, moving on to the next question from Dui. It's he asks, "What's your favorite deck to play?"
My favorite deck to play is the Shaman. I mean, it, it's pretty much been the Shaman for a long, long time, ever since open beta as well. So yeah, the Shaman. I just like the whole concept of Overload, having access to those overpowered spells early, with
Hmm.
a drawback. I've always been a fan of cards like that, cards with drawback, but that are actually insanely overpowered
Mm,
if you don't consider the drawback. So yeah, cards like Feral Spirit, cards like Lightning Storm, cards like Doomhammer as well.
yeah.
Really like those cards.
Yep.
Earth Elemental.
Those are some really good cards, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
Shaman has a lot of power. I mean, obviously at the cost of those overload mechanics, but
mm,
yeah, I think that the Shaman definitely one of the strongest classes in the game.
yep. Here's the next question from Close Guard. He asks, "You've been pretty outspoken about your skill level, and that some of your peers." He just like full stop. I don't know where he was going with that. But what are some of the things you look at that might surprise the average player when it comes to evaluating a top-end player skill?
Um, Surprise the average player.
Yeah. Like, I'm guessing what are like the attributes that the average player may not really bring into account? Like, when you look at other players that are really good, you're thinking maybe this guy has this thing which he does, and an average player might be like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that there's this factor to take into account." Like,
Well, the thing that separates a pro from an average player is pretty much that he stays ahead of those average players in terms of like innovation when it comes to deck building, in terms of thinking several steps ahead when it comes to gameplay,
mhm,
and yeah, I mean that's about it, right? Like, sure, anyone can learn a deck and learn how to play it well, and also learn the matchups, I guess. But when new stuff comes into play, for example, when you see patches that change up cards or introduce new cards, then that is the time when those pros shine the most because they will be the first who actually come up with that new stuff that dominates existing meta games and just go on an insane win streak,
mhm.
get the top 10 legendary or whatever it is, and yeah, I mean those guys that you see at the top of the rankings, those are the best of the best. So those are the guys who stay ahead of the meta, that or that innovate, like that they either make new decks that completely destroy the whole everything that you see, or they change a couple of cards that give them the edge in if like that give them the edge that other players don't wouldn't have because they don't have those cards.
Hmm. Okay, cool. Cryptos asks, "How did Hearthstone change your life?"
It's insane, actually. I mean, I've yeah, I mean it changed it a lot. Obviously, I've been a professional gamer, a professional card gamer before with the WoW TCG,
Mhm,
but this is like on a whole different scale. I've been traveling the world and going to tournaments, winning tournaments in World of Warcraft in the World of Warcraft trading card game, but that game was not popular enough. Um, there were big prizes involved and stuff like that, but you never really got the recognition um, because it was such a small scale. And with Hearthstone, um, naturally, when I transitioned into it and came to be the best and stuff like that, and like posted my, I wanted to stream the game. I wanted to stream myself playing the game, and like I made a post on Reddit, for example, introducing myself, and I instantly got like 1,000 viewers. I was like, holy shit, this is real. I mean, I didn't expect that, and it went up from there and up from there and up from there, and it's been like kind of like a snowball becoming an avalanche because one thing led to another. I started streaming, I got popular, 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 and with increased popularity, I caught the eye of many like pros, including Artosis, um, whom I helped win BlizzCon pretty much by building his decks, right?
Nice.
So yeah, and it all went uphill from there. I mean, it's from like Artosis after Artosis won BlizzCon, he pretty much got me invited into the Fight Night series, which gave me even more exposure. And yeah, I mean, now here I am pretty much.
Nice. Nice. It's one hell
And
of a roller coaster
I
ride, man.
mean, it's still going up. There's like no end in sight, and it's insane. I mean, it's kind of surreal. It's if one like you can backtrack all this stuff to all the way back pretty much. I mean, if it wasn't for me getting into card games in the first place, I wouldn't be here right now.
Hmm.
Like it went from Magic to WoW to Hearthstone to right now. So, and if it wasn't, for example, for me getting the beta key, for example, from a friend,
Hmm.
then uh, at the time that I did it, I wouldn't have gotten as popular as I would have in this. Yeah, up until the moment where Artosis actually caught my eye, or I caught Artosis' eye. I don't know
You
what.
caught each other's eyes, man.
Yeah,
It
I
was.
don't. I don't know exactly. I mean, so if I imagine I got like if one of those events were like a little bit different, then I wouldn't be sitting here doing this interview, being a DreamHack and stuff like that. I would be like a whole different person. So I'm very happy for everything that happened and that it happened. And yeah, I mean, it has been a life-changing experience pretty much because otherwise I would have been a nobody, and I would have been doing something completely different probably.
Cool. Cool. Moving on to the next question from Gene Say. What do you think of the DreamHack format and them using best of threes up till the grand finals, where they change it up to a best of five?
Um, Phew. I mean, the format. What? Um, I mean, the format of best of three, right?
Yep, yep,
So a lot of people complain about it, me
yep.
included. So I don't like the best of three at all. Um, it's sure it's better than best of one, but it doesn't. There's a lot of elements of randomness involved,
Hmm.
especially if you have three decks to choose from. So for example, like I wouldn't have as much of a problem with best of three if you had only two decks available,
Hmm.
um, instead of a best of three with three decks available, because the edge you have if you win the first one
Yeah.
and you still have two decks available to you. It's just way too big
Mm.
because whatever your opponent picks to um, to beat your first deck, you will have a counter for that deck.
Yeah.
So most of the times where someone wins game one, he wins game three as well. So the winner, I guess it's my perception because yeah, it naturally it's just such a big advantage. So that advantage would have been reduced if it was like only if you haven't had the option to choose a counter deck for the deck that you lost to or whatever. So if you had to use all the decks that you submitted, pretty much.
Mm. Yeah.
So best of three with two decks is fine, but I prefer actually best of five with three decks to
Mm.
choose from.
Okay.
So that would have been a good format.
It was like I was speaking to Frodan last week about this, and I spoke to Nimsh the week before that about it. With Nimsh, he was like they should use Swiss. With Frodan, it was like if they're gonna play, it was like yours, like best of five, but they can only play a deck twice in a row. Like after, like for example, if you win the first 2 games of the Shaman, you have to change it up for the third game. That way, it would make things much more interesting, put pressure on the player who's winning as well, instead of making him feel like this is a free win. Um, so, do you still feel that it's just a best of 3 with 3 decks, or do you feel that maybe it should be Swiss? Maybe it should be like you can only play 2 decks in a best of 5.
It should
Like,
be definite. It should definitely be Swiss. I mean, it's been this way. It's been the tournament format of choice for every card game, pretty much.
mm,
Swiss, so yeah, the preliminary stages would be Swiss,
hmm.
and then you cut to a bracket, right?
Okay.
And that can be single elimination. That can also be double elimination. I don't care. But yeah, I mean, you cannot have a non-Swiss format in a card game to actually determine the best player, because skill doesn't show with the tournament, for example. Like, you cannot judge a skill from a player because he won one tournament, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can win tournaments by getting lucky,
Mm,
and that's also what we've seen in DreamHack, pretty much. Like, two finalists didn't get there because they were better than the other players. They got there because they were luckier,
yeah.
and that's the truth. I mean, I stand by the statement. So, in order to reduce the factor of randomness deciding the outcome of a tournament, you have this Swiss stage, because the skill is not determined by like a single result. The skill is determined by the skill of a player is determined by consistency. So win rate is what it's all about, pretty much.
Yep.
Therefore, you have this Swiss system, which gives every player the opportunity to get a very good win rate by having him play just as many games as the other players would. So yeah, I mean, obviously luck is still gonna play a factor, but not as much as with just single elimination, because in single elimination you get one loss, you're out. In Swiss, you can get one loss, but win every other game and be in the top 8, for
Yep.
example, right?
Yep.
So that's it's 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 just not as unforgiving as the single elimination or double elimination
Mm.
thing.
And if it was a Swiss tournament, would you like say there should be a rule where this is your deck, you can't really customize it depending on match? Like for example, you play versus a priest, you have X deck ready for it. Then the next game you still have to play with the same deck as you used in the previous game. Or would you say that people should be able to tweak their decks game after game, like between games?
I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think you should have your decks built this way that they are actually good against everything that you expect
Yeah.
the other player to play in the first place. So, I mean, making players be able to change their decks in between games is just, yeah, it's just unfair,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
skill
going
in that.
Going to the next question that Jinsei asks, do you feel like luck is way too big a factor in the best of 3, and do you feel like it would have drastically changed the outcome of the event as a whole?
Mm. Yeah, as I mentioned before,
Mm,
luck is definitely a big factor in best of 3.
mm,
So, especially in best of 3 with 3 decks to choose from. That's
yep,
what I said before.
yep. And going to the final question, you can avoid this one if you like. Uh, how salty were you after the worst EU draw with the perfect counter rush rogue verse miracle?
I mean, I haven't been really salty, to be honest. I just thought it was pretty sad because I should have won that match. I think, of course, there's always the chance that even if you're like at a huge disadvantage in one matchup, then still have the chance to get lucky,
Yep.
and that's what RDU pretty much did. Because I mean, he didn't really get lucky on his draw, with his draw, but he got lucky because I got unlucky with my.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I mean. So yeah, I mean, it just happens, I guess, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
sometimes you just have those sequences of those of draws that I had where you get nothing through like 5 turns in a row.
yeah,
I mean, it happens. I could
yeah.
have the plenty of stuff that would have just won me the game instantly, but I guess I didn't.
Uh, yeah.
So I mean, and that's what you have to deal with card games overall. I mean,
Mm,
those stuff like this will happen. You cannot like prevent it, and when it happens, obviously it stings, but you just have to shrug it off and move on to the next, right?
yeah. Bertoga asks, do you think there might be an opportunity to make a brand out of Doghouse? Or are you 100% focused on pedagogy school? Also, how is Doghouse roster currently looking, and where is Nix? Great play
Next,
on DreamHack, by the way.
yeah. Anyway, there is certainly a chance to make Dogga House a brand. I mean, Dogga House is a brand pretty much already. I mean, Dogga House is one of the most recognized teams um, in Hearthstone right now. So yeah, I mean, Dogga House is a brand already.
Yep.
Even though we are not like we don't have like sponsors and stuff like that. But I mean, we're working on stuff. So there's gonna be there's gonna be a huge change soon, hopefully.
Yep.
But I cannot really talk about that right now.
Could you like tell me what pedagogy school is? Because like,
Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm studying pedagogics, which is basically like I don't like it's not really a word in it's not really a common word in English. It's more like a German word,
okay.
Pädagogik, which is basically education for.
Oh. Oh man, you're gonna be the best teacher ever. Like School of Rock all over again.
I mean, it's. I mean, I'm not focused on it really
Oh.
that much anymore. I've lost my motivation to do this because of gaming, pretty much because of
Mm,
where I'm at right now. You cannot have a passion for two things and like dedicate yourself 100% to both those things. It's not possible.
mm.
So a choice has to be made.
Yeah. Would it be possible for you to like take what you learned during your time at pedagogy and like apply some of those teaching techniques to possibly start your own YouTube series about teaching, like how to be a better gamer, for example?
I mean, sure, it's not really like teaching. It's more like educating.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, but it's certainly I learned a lot of stuff in my studies, which can be applied to Hearthstone as well, or to teaching people how to be better at the game. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to that intertwines. Like I mean, I will definitely be able to use a lot of stuff that I've learned for Hearthstone as well.
Yep. Going on to the second part of this guy's question, Bertogas. Also, how is Doghouse current roster looking, and where is Nix?
Nyx
Nix.
is
Oh, Nix, Nix,
yeah,
Nix, Nix.
Nyx is retired
Oh, okay.
officially. So yeah, I mean the Hearthstone as a game for him was moving too slow. Um, I mean, and I get that. I mean, you get this courage from playing this game if it doesn't change a lot. If it there's so I the one thing that I said before is like good players are good players because they thrive on the game evolving. Like
Yeah.
if there's a game changer, if there's a patch that changes the game, then the good players are have the opportunity to like stay ahead of the pack, just being those alpha doggers pretty much
Yes.
by innovating and yeah, basically setting the bar for everyone. And Hearthstone right now is at a stage where the bar is too is getting lower and lower pretty much because
Gotcha.
everyone has caught up.
Mm,
Many people have caught up to the whole meta game and to the skills that you need to be successful at the game. So it's easier to get beat pretty much.
okay.
For example, like when Arena started, I had a over 80% win rate, and now I only have like a 75% win rate, which doesn't seem like a huge deal, right? But
Hmm.
it actually is. People get better, and 5% is a lot
Yeah.
when it comes to a bigger scale.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's actually some pretty interesting insight you have there, and
And that's pretty much why Nix left because he felt he didn't have the motivation to keep playing this game. The
mhm.
game was getting boring, and it was because of no new content as well. So I don't blame him for that. I mean, I was also at some point burned out pretty much from playing that game. I wasn't enjoying playing Hearthstone because there was no innovation. My only motivation to keep playing were those tournaments and show matches.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, but I mean, now that Blizzard announced the World Championships, for example, I've been playing way more ladder as well, um, just to get my spot into that qualifier.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I would definitely welcome a change, and that change is going to come soon, hopefully, with that next Ramos patch.
Do you think that they took too long to add, like, for example, more cards into the game, or do you think it's fine just once a year for them to like, for example, just Nax, like, release an expansion that adds more cards?
I mean, technically, it hasn't taken too long yet because Hearthstone is still a new game.
Yeah.
It officially got released. What was it? April, right?
Yeah, around about, yeah.
So you just have to like go from there to be honest, because everything else that was before that doesn't really count.
Hmm.
The whole beta stage, which Nix has been playing as well. So in in most card games, it's like you get an expansion every 4 months, every 3 or 4 months, right?
Yeah.
So if Blizzard um, is going to do the same, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to innovate,
Yeah.
right? And to get that edge over average players that yeah, professionals really want.
Yeah. Indeed. Going to the next question from D_rail. He asks, "What Hearthstone card best represents you as a person?"
Um, what Hearthstone cards, but what Hearthstone card best represents me as a person? It's actually really hard to tell. Well, if I was a Hearthstone card, for example, I would definitely be a troll. That's for sure. Um, but I don't know which one.
There's so many. Um, yeah, and most of them have enrages as well, man.
Yeah, I get, I get it. Yeah, I might actually be a money berserker because I'm getting enraged easily as well sometimes. No, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would have to be something with enrage and with a fun quote. I guess. I don't know. Maybe even angry chicken. Who knows? Maybe I'm angry chicken actually.
Oh my goodness. Well,
I
folks,
don't know. I don't know. It's actually hard to tell.
all right. And because they're actually like when you think about it, there actually are quite a few cards in the current in the current set of cards, not
Mm.
including the next ones which have been released. So it's a tough one. Man. It's a tough one. All right, how about this? If you were any legendary, which legendary would you be?
Leroy Jenkins.
Oh yeah.
maybe
Yes.
maybe I'm actually maybe that's actually answers the question as well. I should be Leroy Jenkins. Leroy Jenkins has been one of my favorite cards for a long time because of the battle cry
Hmm.
as well. Like I mean the battle cry when he enters the play, obviously, and he was also a card in the WoW TCG, which I really liked. And yeah, I mean, Leroy Jenkins is considered to be like the best legendary at the moment,
Yeah.
which is also what I consider myself to be the best player in the game. And also the player that pisses off the most players at the moment, which is also what Leroy Jenkins probably is, right?
Yep.
Jenkins is the card that pisses players off the
Oh yes.
whenever you hear that Leroy Jenkins, you just immediately go in rage.
Yeah, especially when you suddenly see it. Like, you can be sitting at 30 HP and then suddenly you just see the buffs, the buffs, the buffs. I was once at 30 HP. The guy buffs his Leroy and then just uses a faceless. And I'm just like, well, shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yep.
I mean, that probably is the card that represents me as a person the most.
Mm,
Overpowered and pissing people off.
yep.
And having fun doing it.
Yes.
And having
Indeed.
chicken.
Yep. So you heard it here, guys, on Gamers, YOLO Jenkins. And moving on to the next question. Happy Panda 123 asks you, Ekop, you called the priest the worst class at DreamHack right before Amass proved you wrong. How do you feel about that?
I still think that Priest is. I don't
Yep.
care what Amas did in the tournament. Amas got lucky, and the Priest is like the only class that still relies on RNG
Yep.
pretty much. With that thought steal, for example, right?
Yep.
Like, that thought steal, man, on against reals with the double mountain giant and the twilight drake that he stole. Dang.
Yep.
I mean, priest is like the signature class of Amas,
Yep.
and he knows what he's doing with that class. That's for sure.
He's pretty much RNGesus when it comes to priest, man. Like,
I mean, he is definitely a skilled priest player,
mm,
so he knows everything about that class in and out. Like the craziest plays that you could come up with, Amas knows them by heart.
hmm
So like when you see Amas doing like fancy board clears that other people would like take 2 minutes to do those, come up with those plays, and Amas has it like in an instant, in 5 seconds, right?
yeah.
So I mean, you definitely have to have those skills if you want to succeed with Priest.
Yep.
Amas can do with Priest what many players would not be able to do, and but still, like even with that edge, he is still not favored
Yep.
against an average player with a better class.
Mm,
So Priest is just hands down the weakest class, even though it's like the but still Priest is probably the most exciting class to watch, especially
yep.
because of the RNG element.
Indeed. So would you say that Paladin is actually less weak than Priest, or is it like, would that be like the weakest class and then Priest?
In my opinion, Paladin is stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paladin has its strengths, but I don't know. And like historically speaking, Priest has never really won anything.
hmm
I mean, Priest has never been considered to be one of the top classes. There's always that spot has always been filled by some other class, and I think like pretty much every class had that top spot at one point, with the exception of Priest.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Going into a side question, actually. Lately, Paladins have been getting a lot of hate, right? Because we don't really have that Amaz guy to like champion the cause of Paladins, unlike priests do. But what do you think could help Paladins become more of a mainstream class, or at least stand up to more popular classes like Miracle Rogues, Handlocks, and such?
one of the main weaknesses of Paladin is that he has way too many spells that cost 1 mana.
Hmm.
Um, while that doesn't sound like it would be bad, right? It
Yeah.
it really is because Paladin has no access to doesn't have the access to enough strong cards. Like 1 mana cards are not gonna win you the game.
Yeah.
So you need better stuff. Like you need stuff that costs more that actually like is able to do something because you can only make a 1 mana card that powerful before it gets overpowered, right?
Yeah.
You cannot really make 1 mana cards overpowered like 2 or 3 mana cards. So problem Paladin has is it has too many 1 mana cards, pretty much. All the secrets obviously cost 1 mana, and there's besides those secrets, there's way too much stuff that costs 1 mana for Paladin. It's unnecessary, to be honest. And most of that stuff is not seeing any play either anyway, so
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I mean, what Paladin needs is just better class cards overall, especially minions, because as far as I know, Paladin is like the class with with the least amount of class-specific minions.
Yeah.
And minions are most of the time what wins you the game in Hearthstone.
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah, Paladin, like besides Aldor, like what does Paladin have? Aldor, Peacekeeper,
Yeah.
Arch
They've got.
Protector, and Tyrion, and Guardian of Kings, and that's it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not nearly enough. They
Mm.
need more minions.
I completely agree with you there. And I wonder if they will add any more minions down the line. Hopefully they will. Going to the next question, though. What do you think of Blizzard's release model for Naxxramas?
You mean the one with the wings?
Yeah, like each week is a wing release. Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, it it is actually okay because you will have a focus on one specific wing for each week, pretty much. That every wing gets enough exposure, pretty much. Like when it comes to strategy talk or like overall exposures on stream as well. So you don't like. Obviously, many people would just probably rush all those wings and to get to those cards and never return. I don't know. And Blizzard, I guess, wants to make this whole Naxxramas experience um, they want players to play Naxxramas as much as possible, all the wings, I guess, and come up with new stuff to beat those wings, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's probably all right. Like you will get, for example, you will see many streamers, for example, play Naxxramas with different strategies, and each week you will like see a different wing. For example, like you will see strategies. You will see people come up with new strategies to beat a certain wing within that week, because if people, I guess, if people just play that one wing in one day and just move on to the next one and never come back, then yeah, I mean, it didn't fulfill its purpose, I guess, to be
Yeah.
engaging enough. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's like they want to increase playability, right? Like replayability, to be more
Yeah.
precise. Yeah, it's a valid thing. Valid thing. And moving to the next question. If you could make a card, be it a weapon, minion, secret, spell, legendary even, what would that card be? And of course, what would it do?
It's like one of those questions that always comes up, but
Yep.
that I'm never prepared to actually answer. It's really hard to like just create a card out of the blue. Um, but I would actually just make a card probably that kind of just breaks the fourth wall.
You mean kills the player in real life? Like instant win.
No, I mean like for example, that just completely interacts with the player on another level. I mean, just for example, you take damage when you hover over the card,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
mouse or whatever, like
Yeah.
right, or when you or yeah, I don't know, like
That'd
something
be
like
really cool, especially if it like there's an emote which says "Get off my property" and you're taking damage when you're hovering over
yes,
somebody's
something
card.
like that.
Yep, that'd be pretty cool. So like when you play a card called Ekop, it's a legendary 5/5 with no like it's like thing is it can't attack, but it's like if you hover over the deck or the player's cards, it's like you take
Yeah,
damage.
or if you don't emote at least once per turn, you you take damage or whatever.
Like 5 damage.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet. That'd be pretty sweet. So there you have it, guys. That is the legendary card, of course. And if it dies, obviously you'll probably get the ban hammer or something, and that way, like the player could just whack the other guy a bit more. So going to the next question: what do you want Blizzard to put into the spectator mode, feature-wise?
Probably a greater, and probably a bigger log, like game log, what happened in the game. The game log that's in the game right now is a little bit small,
Oh, you mean
and
the card log, right?
yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yes, yes.
Like just to um, so spectators are actually able to see what happened in the game. Like
Hmm.
if especially if when a game takes longer and you need to like know what the outs are that someone has,
Yeah.
for example, that would be a cool feature, I guess. Um, I don't know what else. I mean, there's not really much to be added, to be honest,
Mm.
to a spectator to a spectator mode, I
Yep.
guess.
I was speaking to Nimsh about a thing which they could add. Like initially, we were like, wouldn't it be cool if you could just see the player's next cards? Then we both thought that that might be too OP while the game is still running. But then we thought, wait, what if the game is already ended and then we could see what the next draw would be for the player? Just for the spectator experience, of course. So you could see, oh my god, he actually had the answer the next card if he didn't GG out.
Doesn't really make sense
Nope.
because like that's also a thing that was always discussed in card games, in regular card games, because people would always look like, oh yeah, what would I've drawn next? Could I have beaten you? Right? Like
Yeah.
it's there's no use to that because you would just get or for example when you mulligan, right? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mulligan my hand. Would it have been good if I drew this next card or whatever? You cannot like make yeah, it doesn't make sense because you cannot beat yourself up over decisions that are over decisions that are influenced by randomness anyway.
Oh, I'm talking about a spectator point of view. Like, for example, the casters can just like show it for the viewers to see.
But even then, I mean, even
Oh,
that
yeah,
doesn't make much sense because it wouldn't have mattered anyway,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because a game lost is a game lost, or a game won is
Hmm.
a game won. I don't know, like, and it just adds like when you see it as a player, for example, as
Oh,
well,
yeah, yeah.
that
Like, no.
just beat yourself up over it. Oh, I would have. Yeah, there's like, it's
Yeah,
not necessary, and it just doesn't add anything to
yeah,
the whole thing.
yeah. All right. What mechanic would you like to see added in the game?
Um, yeah. I mean, the mechanic that I was talking about was obviously the activated abilities
Oh, yeah, yeah.
of minions, for example.
Mm,
Also, I think every class should actually have access to weapons.
yeah. Like even priest
Maybe it
classes and mage,
could
right?
also be armor,
Oh, yes.
like different armors.
Yep. Do you think they should add like you know in Magic the Gathering with white cards, you could actually like equip armor and weapons onto weaker minions to make them like stronger?
Nah,
No.
they're already equipped.
Oh yeah.
I would like equip your hero with armor and or something like that. I guess
Yeah, that'd be pretty
you
cool.
can equip your hero with weapons already, right?
Yeah.
But you should equip every hero with weapons. I think they should actually just add weapons for every class.
Yeah. Like, do you think for mages and priests there should be like maybe increased spell power or something like that if you
Yeah.
equip it? Yeah. Like
Whenever you when, for example, like so like sort of justice type
yeah,
of weapons. Whenever you do something, you just remove a charge and yeah.
that'd be pretty cool. And
For
then durability.
the next spells you play have spell damage, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like whenever you cast a spell that deals damage, then you remove a durability charge, and then all those spells have like +1
Yeah.
spell damage.
That's actually pretty sweet. Yep. All right, going to the final question here. What's the future for Ekop?
Well, the future is bright. I mean,
There you have it, guys. We're
that's,
done.
yeah, I mean, as I said before, I cannot really talk much about
Yeah,
it. There are
yeah,
big plans for me and my team,
yeah,
and yeah, you will hear of them soon, hopefully, I think.
yeah. Is it a blizzard soon, or is it like a normal soon?
It's probably normal soon.
All right, all right. Well, there you have it, guys. That's all for this week. Of course, I've been speaking to the champion of House Doug himself, Ekop. Ekop, before we go, do you have any shoutouts to give?
Shout out to my teammates, shout out to all the Doga House fans, and shout out to DreamHack, obviously,
Yep,
for organizing DreamHack. I mean,
yep.
this it's been my first DreamHack, and it's been an amazing experience. And I'm really looking forward to go to the next DreamHack as well.
Yes, indeed. And you, of course, can follow this this guy, the badass of Hearthstone, I'd like to say, at Ecop1337, also known as Leet. And yeah, you could follow us at ongamers_com and follow us on Facebook .com/ongamerscom and follow me at the Mesh King. And that is all for this week's episode of Well Met. You've been well met, Ecop.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See you all next week.